All right, good morning and welcome to News Express, exclusively brought to you by Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. It's a new week and there are a lot of really catchy and very interesting headlines on Business AM this morning. And top in the front page, we have this one we've been following up for a couple of weeks now on Business AM. We've talked about it. We talked about it 2 weeks back, or I think a week ago or 2 weeks back, and it's about the Atlas Mara sale of its 49.89% stake in Union Bank. Well, this headline here says, winner takes all at play, Fuga's competition in the mix. Yes, Philip Isapa will give us the latest on this particular one. It's top in the front page of Business AM this morning. And just under that headline, we have bullish calls on juicy $22.5 billion diaspora remittance for Nigeria. Analysts, World Bank sound positive notes. The CBN stands in 2021 into 2022 to be major driver, regulations, remittance costs, downside risks. It continues on page 2 of the paper. To the summary section, we have the CPI we're expecting later today. Of course, it's right here, and analysts are giving their projections of what to expect when that is released. We have that one on page 3 of the paper. On page 11, Nigeria subnationals to debt throes. That one's on page 11. Energy, power and renewable section, Nigeria's gas transport subsidy on page 22. Mixed responses to PFA's recap. Talking about the insurance and pension sector now on page 14 of the paper. Over to transport business. French DNA's new Schengen Hunter. What's that about? Page 29. You can catch that and more. And then finally, the commodities and Greek segment of the paper, talking about China, cocoa export, and Nigeria. All of that and more you can find on Business AM. Well, I'm bringing in the publisher, Business AM, to take us into the headlines and give us details into what they're all about. Good morning, Mr. Philip. It's great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Rachel. Thank you for having me. How are you today?
Okay, so yes, the headlines this morning. I'd like for us to start our conversation with the plans by Atlas Mara to sell its 49.97% stake in Union Bank. What's the latest?
Well, Rachel, we have continued to dig into that story, and especially looking at how it will play out in the banking industry in Nigeria. At least that is what we are hearing from what we followed up the whole of last week up to the weekend, that it's actually something to do with the competition in the Nigerian banking space. You know, people have wondered what was innate for the two banks that have been mentioned, talking about Access Bank and Zenith Bank. People have questioned what exactly was innate for them. We have found over the weekend, last week and the weekend, talking to a number of analysts, and they have come back to tell us that there is something juicy about the combination. We spoke to some analysts who were raving mad about what a combination between either Access Bank or Zenith Bank and Union Bank will bring to the industry. Two things are quite clear there. You know, there's a competition, a lot of competition at the top. You know, you talk about the Fugas collective, where you talk about First Bank, United Bank for Africa, Guaranty Trust Bank, Access, and Zenith. You know, we are hearing that a number of boardrooms, management teams of those people in that mix, you know, will be talking, discussing what the outcome could be for the competition at the top. You know, we're not too sure yet, but we are hearing that it might be possible for other interests to show up, you know, not just Access Bank or Zenith Bank, because by the time they do the permutation, they do the calculation, you know, seeing that competition will be serious at the top, you know, that they might come in. and they're also telling us that you shouldn't rule out the possibility of a mid-sized bank coming into the play. So competition between amongst First Bank, United Bank for Africa, Guaranteed Trust Bank, Access, and Zenith. Any one of them, grabbing the 49.97% stake in Union Bank, will mean quite a lot. We've also heard that, we spoke about it, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? That Capital Alliance, African Capital Alliance, that first went into buying the Union Bank before Atlas of Mara and the rest came in, did quite a good job, cleaning up the bank. We talked about ex-Zenith Bank, the one-time managing director, of the bank, Emeka Emuwa, and I think he was chairman, Cyril Odu, who had been put together by Capital Alliance. It's such that one analyst described it: Union Bank is the greatest pawn or prize in African banking today. It checks all the boxes. Clean assets haven't been cleaned up by Emeka Emuwa and Cyril Odu. So this is what they are saying, and that they are saying. Analysts are saying that anyone that grabs Union Bank is sure going to be. One analyst says is the biggest prize in the African banking scene, as a matter of fact.
Indeed. All right, let's move over to another story that is going to be trending for the whole of this week, and that's the CPI report for the month of April. It's on pages 3 of the paper. It's expected to be released today. What are analysts saying, and is there any light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, from what we've put out there, analysts see negative inflation in short term, so we expect it to continue to be negative, but that they say it will moderate in April. So April, which will be out this today, like you said. So they say it will be moderate, but it will be negative in the short term. They've looked at everything that contributes to the inflation numbers. We have consistently talked about how food inflation is a big headache for inflation, for the inflation numbers. It's still particularly positive. They've given out quite a lot of details which readers will pick up, in terms of from the article that we've put out, but inflationary pressures may start to ease by mid-year, according to one CBN staff, due to a harvest impact, due to harvest impact. Although analysts are saying that we have to say that none of such materialized in 2020. When they were talking about it last year, that there will be, given the amount of money that has been pumped into agriculture, that we expected to see some moderation in inflation, because they expected that there will be a bumper harvest, but that didn't materialize from what we've seen. We've consistently seen inflation continue to move up, and this has been worrisome, for watchers of the economy. Food inflation has been impacted by quite a lot of things, especially farmers, headers, clashes, the insecurity in different parts of the country, especially the food basket areas, that have ensured that farmers, some farmers, if not many farmers, are staying away from the farms. For instance, in March, food price inflation rose to 22.95%, with an increase of 116 basis points, caused by wide-ranging price increases across items such as cereal, yam, meat, fish, and fruits. So the food basket continues to be a major issue with regards to inflation, and generally they are just saying that expect negative inflation in the short term. Maybe it will moderate this April. We'll wait and see what the what's it called, the Nigerian National Bureau of Statistics will release later today, and then we'll keep a watch on that. And of course, we'll go back to the analysts analysts make all sorts of calls. You know, we have to see what those calls turn out to be when the actual numbers come in.
Okay.
You know, all of them economists, they all act in terms of what you call all things being equal.
True, that's right. All right, let's move over to the finance and investment segment of the paper on page 13. Last week in the global markets, it was a very, 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 very busy week. We saw traders looking out for, the inflation numbers and concerns around it, and it sort of drove volatility in the global space. And then in Nigeria, we had just 3 trading days last week. Take us through how that, went on, how activities turned out last week in the money markets and fixed income markets.
Well, what we've seen so far, was that I think investors and traders did some hedging, what you call holding back,
Okay.
because the week wasn't particularly a long week, just three days in the of the week where you had trading, so you saw them hugging the sidelines, as we have said, but bonds, T-bills, so you had mixed performance from in terms of bonds and treasury bills. The Naira lost some strength, 1 Naira on the street, 1.34, 1 Naira 35 kobo at the importers and exporters window, and that was notwithstanding what you call the CBN intervention, while the rate, Naira rate opened 483 per dollar to the dollar, it closed 484 at the end of the week, and that's on the street. You had at the NAFEX window, you had it 410.22 per dollar, closing 411.67 per dollar on Friday. That is a depreciation of 1.34 kobo week on week, from what it did the week previously. So what we have seen is that there was cautious trading, cautious activity in the market, So the market responded in terms of T-bills trading and bonds trading, having mixed performances across the market segments, especially across the different curves of the market. For instance, open buyback rate and overnight rates rose 12.1% percentage points and 13.3 percentage points respectively, to 26.9% and 28.9% from the previous week of 14.8% and 15.3%, close. System liquidity fell to 158.1 billion week on week, after a temporary rise to 355.1 billion on Tuesday, from 225.8 billion, and then they said due to the 117.6 billion homo auction that took place on Friday,
Yes.
the what's it called, Apex Bank, in a bid to mop up excess system liquidity following OMO maturities worth 90 billion on Tuesday, conducted an OMO auction worth 117.6 billion on Friday. So it was a mixed market, mixed fixed income and money market activities for the week. But largely driven by what's it called, the shortness of the trading week. So there was no commitment. It was seen to be too short to commit, so investors and traders were holding the sidelines, as we have reported today.
All right, we'll just hope that this week turns out to be better and more financially productive in the markets. Just before I let you go, Mr. Philip, any other story readers should be particular about this week?
Yep, readers should be following the pension fund situation. We have had, we had the insurance market regulators imposing some new capital base, for insurance companies that it turned out not to be actualized in the way that it was scheduled to go, and then you had a stop, by politicians at I think the House of Rep or the Senate coming in. Now we have the PFAs, pension funds administrators, are having to raise their minimum capital base from 1 billion to 5 billion. That's something everybody should be interested in, because it's pension funds and a lot of people are involved. People need to watch out what exactly will happen in that regard. Whether they will be, the PFAs will be able to meet this new, because they've been given 12 months to do this. Many people say they think it will help to improve operational efficiency and effectiveness, but it's something that everybody should be looking out for. Everybody that has a pension should be looking out for, and to see how that will impact on their pension.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Philip Isapa, for joining me this morning. We'll get back to you later in the week for how the stories develop.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that was Philip Isakwa, the publisher Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper.